Hey, what's going on, folks? So today I wanted to do a review on multiple action figures. I got the first wave of the Power of the Primes Dinobots action figures, so let's check them out. Alright, so when I first saw these pictures of the Dinobots on Instagram, I thought these action figures were amazing. They're very close to the G1 style. The plastic is like this. It's somewhat shiny. It's not die cast at all, but it has this luster to it that resembles the original die cast feel of those action figures. And also just how the robot forms. I mean, they're very similar to the G1, and they also upgraded the articulation, of course. I mean, it's just very nice action figures. There's not much kibble. I mean, you can't see. They cover most of the hollow spots, which is great. Let's see. Let's take a look at Swoop here. They did a great job with each of these action figures. So when I first purchased these figures, I had to make a decision whether I wanted to keep them in robot form or Dinobot form. I really chose, which way I would keep them based on how aesthetically pleasing they were to me. And also, like, the tendencies of the Dinobots. So, like, I know Grimlock, he preferred to stay in his Dino, his Tyrannosaurus Rex form. And I know, like, Swoop and Slag did also choose to stay in their Dinobot form. But also, I think as far as standing on the shelf, it looks much more impressive this way. I think it's a really nice look for that action figure. I like the way the wings are just sticking out. I think it just looks really nice. So I mean, you could choose to disagree, but I mean, I think he looks great, like out of the package like that. Now, also Slag, he looks really nice as well. One of the things that I want to nitpick is that it looks like Swoop is actually larger than Slag as far as if you put them together. Yeah, Swoop looks like he takes up more space. So I would have liked this to be a little bit larger, but that's just a nitpick, right? I mean, other than that, I think it's great. I would have liked this to be larger as well. I know that, this is, it was a bit more expensive, because the Dinobot form, or the robot form for Grimlock, was much larger. And so if you put him in Dinobot form, if you put him in the dinosaur form, he tends to be condensed a lot more, and a lot of that has to do with this long ass tail. Look at this. Look how long that tail is. Other than that, like, I mean, this tail is just, it's probably half the size of his body as far as like length goes. It just takes up a lot. However, if you look at his head though, look at the head sculpt of Grimlock. That is the closest to G1 I've seen in a very long time. So I'm going to bring out, I actually have a Heroes of Cybertron Grimlock, and he is very close to, I mean, he is just identical to the cartoon form. So this is what I use as reference, and take a look at that. Very close. Now let's I'll move back. Slag and swoop. So let's take some time and let's compare both Grimlocks, right? So they both look like they have similar color schemes. There's yellow on the bottom torso, and there's elements of that also in the Power of the Prime as well. There's a yellow. It's much more, I think, like a metallic type of yellow, chromed out maybe. And then there's also a yellow trim along the neck, which also is on the Power of the Primes figure. You also have yellow toes, and yeah, so you also have yellow toes, which is also available. It's a darker yellow, but the finish of it is more of like a metallic style to it. And then you also have this red trim on the sides, which is also, there's elements of that on top of the yellow belly. So instead of it being on the sides, it's actually on the top of the top of the belly. And instead of the side panel being red, you have this cool sticker of just like I guess like computer type of computer type of stuff. Or for the lack of a better phrase, I can't think of a better phrase to explain that. You also get, if you look on the Powers of Prime figure, there's a large Autobot emblem in the front that is moved down to the belly. I don't remember if it was actually, I mean, if the Autobot logo was on the top of his chest. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, so it's moved down. So there are elements of G1 in it, and it's very close. I mean, as opposed to like other figures. You see there's white arms for the original Grimlock, the original design. Unfortunately, these aren't white. I was thinking of painting them white, but then, you know, it's just something. I don't know. It's just nitpicking. So at this point, it's fine. I don't mind it. Also, there's white trim at the end of this tail. So this is like one uniform color, except for the yellow trim on the sides, and then like the small panels on the bottom, small decals. Really cool. If you look on the back, I would have liked for, I was trying to, I didn't know whether to move this part up or not. I don't think you can. Let me see. Okay. So you get this panel on the back, and that's updated. This looks more like kibble to me. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but you do have this yellow trim on the back, which is cool. So, you know, they did follow some of the patterns of the G1 while also styling it as their own. I do want to bring out other figures for comparison. So here's the Robots in Disguise version of Grimlock. Kept this one because, you know, it's a dinosaur. You know, it's a Dinobot. Can't go wrong with the Dinobots. I mean, those are my favorite. So let's move Grimlock out of the way. Alright, out of the way. Alright, let's take a look at Slag. Now, this is the first Slag figure I've ever had. I remember when I was a kid, there's another kid in my building, former best friend. His mom bought him like the G1 Dinobots. And I just remember looking at these action figures and I was just in awe, like, holy crap, these figures are amazing. Unfortunately, you know, there wasn't much articulation with those action figures, but just looking at them, you know, it's just enough to just capture my attention because of how nice the diecast was. And this sort of captured those same feelings with me. Unfortunately, they're not diecast, so, you know, they don't have the same material elements as those original figures, but the luster on this plastic is close enough where I can imagine it, and it's really nice. It's a beautiful touch on these action figures. I will say though, like, I'm not going to transform them on video, but I will say that the transformation process for these action figures is very simple, in contrast to all of the other modern, you know, like Transformers. They're very simple. The process is very simple. I only choose to not do it on camera because it would probably be an hour video. I'm not as fast transforming these figures, but you know, they're just so great to look at. They're great. So Slag's awesome. Can't really move his head, but the articulation's great. Ball joints all around. You could bend the knees. Ball joints on the arms as well. Ratchet joints on the elbows. Can't move the head, unfortunately, but that's fine. I love the aesthetic of this helmet. It looks great. I mean, you turn it around, it's a Triceratops. You turn it to the front, it sort of looks like he has devil horns. It's really cool. It's a fantastic aesthetic. And just a beautiful set. This is great. Alright. Oh. Okay. And then we have Swoop, which is awesome. He comes with a badass sword. Really cool. The wings look fantastic. I love action figures with wings, by the way. The color scheme is fantastic. So reminiscent of the G1 action figures. Really great. I love the color scheme. It's simplistic. There's a gray base, and then you got a blue torso, elements of yellow, and they're all metallic luster. Metallic luster all over the action figure. The sword is super detailed, well sculpted. That red pops really nicely on your shelf. All the detail is just beautiful, and it just builds towards a fantastic overall piece. I mean, these are going to look beautiful on your shelf. I'd say the Swoop catches my eye out of these action figures because of that blue. I think he's distinct in that. Just looking at these, I would probably put him in the middle. Oh, I'm also forgetting her. I'm forgetting Slash. She's really cool. Velociraptor. I was thinking of getting multiples of these, just because of how cool the dino form looks. It's just amazing. Look at that. It's just beautiful. If you have it in dinosaur form, the payoff is great. I mean, it pays off well. And you could also articulate the mouth. And I believe you could articulate the mouth in every one of these figures. But just beautiful. Look at that. This is a fantastic set. Um, Bumblebee right there, just for reference. All right, so this was more of like a, I guess more of a contrast video than a review, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do see these on shelves, definitely check them out. They're worth just looking at. If you're not intending to buy them, they're beautiful action figures. And beautiful to put on your shelf. I think as far as just gauging which one, if you're gonna buy one, I would say buy the Swoop. That is probably the best one out of the three, out of the four. The most colorful. I think he's gonna stand out really well on the shelf. Definitely check him out. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, later.